Gutbuster Ogors are hulking, rotund brutes, nearly twice the size of mortal men, and rippling with muscle, driven by a ravenous hunger that they can never truly sate. These hardy creatures rampage across the 8 realms in nomadic tribes, always searching for their next meal. The hierarchy of a warglut is really quite simple. The biggest and strongest Ogor claims leadership, using his girth and strength to outfight and out-eat any who would dare challenge him. Known as tyrants, these towering brutes lead the war parties of the Gutbusters in their ceaseless search for food. This duty is of the utmost importance, not only because Ogors require an enormous amount of sustenance, but because feasting is regarded by Ogors as a sacred act. Each mouthful of dripping flesh is an offering to the great beast that consumes the realms, the Ogors' interpretation of the green-skinned god Gorgamorka. Should a tyrant fail to provide sufficient food for his grumbling warriors, his reign will come to an abrupt and violent end. Such leadership disputes are solved in traditional one-on-one combat. In front of an audience of hollering Ogors, the 2 combatants will remove their belly plates and face off. Disemboweling is considered a particularly humiliating form of death amongst the wargluts, for as the old saying goes, "Him that's got no guts can't hold on to his food." If the tyrant triumphs, he will messily consume his would-be deposer, while his defeat will result in his own gory demise. A tyrant will fight many of these succession battles in the course of their reign. This life of constant conflict serves a tyrant well in battle, as it only improves their strength and fortitude. There are tales of tyrants tearing the arms from a gargant before beating the unfortunate creature to death with its own limbs, or chewing a head off a Chaos Warlord mid-duel. Tyrants can survive arcane fireballs, hails of cannon and musketry, and the crushing charge of armoured cavalry, protected as they are by layers of blubber and thick iron armour. It is little surprise that many kingdoms and free cities seek to placate warlike tyrants with offerings of food and tribute, rather than face them in battle. Such truces typically only last as long as said city's food stocks remain full, not very long when there are hundreds of ravenous Ogors to feed. As the ruler of their warglut, a tyrant has first pick of the spoils of war, not just food, but war gear, treasures, and trophies. As a result, they are always the most finely outfitted and well-equipped of the tribe, with the thickest gut plate, the cruelest weapons, and the largest rolls of belly fat. Many tyrants choose to carry a bone-crushing thunder mace, a weapon that can tenderize and pulp their intended meal without spoiling the meat. The beast skewer glaive is another favoured weapon, a great polearm with a heavy blade on the end, used to deliver the killing blow to enormous monsters and other potential meals. The appetite of a tyrant can have drastic effects, not only on his own warglut, but on the surrounding region as a whole. Though they can eat anything, Ogors often develop a taste for a certain kind of flesh above all others, and will seek out this delicacy with single-minded obsession. Ogbort Oakeater of the Bloody Stump Warglut in southern Thyria developed a particular craving for sylvaneth bark. His warriors laid waste to vast swathes of the Futilian wood, burning down trees by the hundred to drive the forest folk into the open, where they could be hacked down and devoured. Some unwise Ogors mocked their leaders' taste for greenery, and grumbled about having to live off plants like elven hermits. Oakeater responded by slaughtering all those discontents, and grinding up their bones to sprinkle over his next meal. Huge, belligerent, and always hungry, Ogor gluttons form the bulk of a warglot's fighting strength, and are feared across the realms for their violent nature and savage appetite. A stampede of these brutes is a truly terrifying sight, a living avalanche of iron and sweaty, unwashed flesh that rolls across everything in its path. Even the bravest soldiers may break in the face of such relentless force, especially when they witness their comrades being torn apart and consumed before their eyes. Each Ogor glutton is a mountain of muscle and fat, immensely strong and formidably tough. They wield broad clubs and maces, crude but effective armaments that can cave in a Stormcast's helm with a single blow. Even should their weapons be shattered, Ogor gluttons possess fine backups, a set of yellow teeth that can chew through stone and metal, and meaty fists that can snap spines and crush skulls. The greatest warrior of each Ogor glutton is granted the title of Crusher. This is a fitting title, for these veteran Ogors swing their immense war clubs with startling ease, pulverizing enemy soldiers by the dozen. Some Ogor gluttons carry banners capped with skulls and bones of particularly memorable meals, and their packs are commonly accompanied by grots acting as lookouts, or if food provides particularly scarce, light snacks. Though they are capable of reason, and even a certain low cunning, Ogor gluttons are first and foremost driven by self-interest. As long as they are fed and Gorkamorka's ravenous appetite is appeased, if only for the briefest moment, then nothing else matters. Concepts such as honor and loyalty are utterly alien to these creatures, and they are just as likely to ally with a neighboring kingdom to fend off an invading army as they are to gleefully join in with a raiding force and fill their bellies with flesh. Ogors have a particular fondness for black powder weaponry. They delight in loud and explosive displays of destruction, and their heavy cannons suit those requirements well. Rather than positioning these guns safely behind their front line, however, some Ogors have adopted the unusual tactic of carrying them into battle by hand. Known as lead belchers, these units of Ogor gunners lumber forward towards the enemy with tapers lit in their mouths. The barrels of their crude guns are stuffed with whatever is close at hand. Rock, debris, handfuls of scavenged weapons all prove effective ammunition, if there are no cannonballs to be found. When a lead belcher gun is fired, this hail of shrapnel blasts out and shreds everything in a wide area to bloody paste. At least, that is the intended outcome. Never the most cautious of creatures, Ogors practice a form of fire discipline that would make a veteran Ironweld cannon master blanch with horror. Most lead belchers are covered with powder burns and scars, the results of point-blank detonations and misfires. But such injuries are considered a small price to pay for the thunderous firepower at their disposal. Should a lead belcher find itself in close combat, a common event considering that they are no less ravenous than their fellow tribal warriors, their iron-wrought guns serve as devastating bludgeons. Mounted upon scrap-built chassis and hauled by immense shaggy-furred beasts known as rhinoxen, the cannons of the Iron Blasters are mobile siege pieces capable of blasting apart a castle wall in a single volley. The sound of an Iron Blaster cannon is akin to a volcanic eruption. A gout of flame bursts from its huge barrel, and multiple cannonballs are hurled into the ranks of the enemy, splattering them into a pinkish mist. Any shell-shocked survivors are easily clubbed down by the Iron Blaster's gunner, or trampled by their foul-tempered mount. There are many legends told throughout the Gutbuster Moor tribes regarding the origins of the first Iron Blaster cannons, but all agree upon one thing. It was the Sky Titans that dwelt in the clouds above the scabrous sprawl of Gyron that first crafted these terrifying weapons and mounted them upon their immense floating citadels. When this empire of these master engineers was torn down, or devoured by a hungry Gorkamorka, as some Ogor myth speakers insist, the cannons were recovered from the shattered ruins by enterprising Ogors. Over the long years, the use of these oversized weapons filtered out to the nomadic warlords across the realms. Only the richest and most powerful wargluts can claim to possess one of the rare and original cannons of the Sky Titans, of course. The rest make do with similar devices, either looted from the walls of conquered cities of the God King, or crafted by those willing to do business with the unpredictable Gutbusters. There are also many tales told of captured Ironwheel engineers being held hostage and forced to create terribly destructive weapons for their Ogor masters before being eaten.